Hi people, it's me again, Marino Ravenberg. In this video, I'll be discussing why it's better to stay quiet and or silence is golden. By silence is golden, I mean in this context, as the description states. By the way, you can find an interesting article, the link to an interesting article in the description below, a Psychology Today article, I think. In any case, it's an article that will elaborate or that will further support what I'm about to discuss in this video. In the video, I'll be discussing, in this video obviously, I'll be discussing that it's better to keep your goals to yourself. I can't remember having discussed this before, but I double checked and I don't think so. I never officially did a video on this or an article. Not that I intend on writing an article. Bottom line is this is it, the video. Yeah, it's never a good idea to share your goals with people and ambitions. And to tell people about your goals and their objective, especially if these are serious goals. We're talking about major life goals, things that mean a lot to you. Don't share stuff like that with people. Silence is golden, okay? Let your deeds, your actions speak for itself or for themselves. In the article that I provide that is linked in the description below of this video, specifically an thing he has given. Science has confirmed this, by the way. But in the article below, in the description, I read the article of a couple of minutes ago, and the author of the article or the scientist that is discussed in the article gives something called an identity clause or something. In any case, that's seen as the reason. It is theorized and or speculated that whenever people tell others about their goals, that they lose part of their identity, so to speak. But I just want to say that that's not correct. Okay, that's all subjective. That depends on the individual. It depends on the individual and the motivations of said individual. It depends on your motivations. That's what I mean. From a factual perspective, so factually speaking, specifically from an occult context, it's simply a reference to your stating your intent before undergoing an action by sharing your intent with others can backfire majorly even. Now, before I continue, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you tell other people about your goals, you have big things you want to do. For example, you intend on opening up a company, a business, you intend on buying a house, you intend on doing whatever the hell you need to do, you intend on relocating to Hawaii. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I'm not saying that you stand no chance if you do so. I'm just saying that it's been scientifically proven that you drastically, or at the very least significantly or minorly, up to at the very least minor extent, you automatically put yourself at a disadvantage or deficit. You automatically decrease your chances of accomplishing your goal and or objective. And like I said, the reason can be it's primarily dependent on the individual. It depends on what your motivations are, you name it. But bottom line is, it's been proven, and I know it because I've experienced it in my own personal life, and I've seen it with other people. I've heard this time and time again over the course of my entire life. I've read this online, you name it, and science has proven it. It's something that didn't even need proving, and I know it from my own personal life. Okay, but again, it depends on the individual. In any case, if you broadcast stuff to people, for example, you intend on buying a car, and a year or half a year before buying a car, you're telling everyone, I'm saving up money. Every friend or acquaintance you see, I'm saving up money, I'm going to buy a car, it's going to look like that, it's going to blah, 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 blah. More often than not, nothing will come of it. And it turns out that you'll have to make do with a car that is significantly lesser than what you had in mind. Or something down the road will cause complications, which will make it so that you either will have tremendous difficulty or significant difficulty accomplishing what you set out to do initially, or you'll have to make do with lesser, so you won't accomplish your goal to the fullest extent or to the fullest of extents. Or last but not least, the only other thing I can think of is that you don't accomplish your goal at all. Due to excessive complications or just straight up complications, you'll have to abandon your goal because it's not worth the trouble. That's what you're going to say. But this is caused by you mouthing off to everyone. This is caused by you telling everyone out there what you intend on doing. That's the whole problem. And again, it depends on your motivations as an individual and the goal at hand. I'm not saying you're not allowed to share anything with anyone, but don't broadcast stuff to people. And it's simply best to keep things, especially things that are important to you, to yourself. But don't just say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and tell everyone you come across about your plans, like it's some kind of public broadcast. You intend on having children, blah, 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 blah. You tell everyone. No. Just keep it to yourself and the story. Actions speak louder than words. But if all you do is just spit out words, so to speak, then yeah, don't be surprised if nothing comes of it, because it decreases your ability or capability, or it decreases the likelihood of you accomplishing what you set out to do initially. And it could be for a number of reasons, like I said. Your motivation might drop because every time you tell people, you automatically lose part of yourself because you start getting bored with the idea. Imagine wanting to buy a really expensive car, but you telling people. The more you tell people about it and the more people ask you questions, you start getting bored with the idea. And you just keep thinking and you're saying to yourself, is it even necessary to do something like this? You're automatically psyching yourself out, so to speak. That's one example of a reason. For the rest, the reason is scientifically unexplained. It all depends on the individual in question. Like I said, his or her motivations, so your motivations as the individual, and your objective or goal that you want to accomplish. But from an occult perspective, so factually speaking, it's simply a matter of losing the element of surprise. Okay, whenever you discuss your goal or goals and or objective well beforehand, we're talking about something that you intend on doing and you've told numerous people, okay, to the point where a good deal of the people in your life expect it from you, or you've just published it well before you actually got down to the deed, well before you actually thought about doing it. Similar to promoting something, it automatically makes you lose the element of surprise. And that's where things will go wrong, because what you're doing spiritually is you're putting your intent out there before you've even actually undergone the action that is required to fulfill your intent, to realize your intent. And you know how the world works. If you push, or if you not even push, if you say that you're going to push, the world is going to push back right away. The world isn't going to say back, hey, I'm going to push you back. No. The world is going to push you back. And then you lose the element of surprise. You've been pushed back before you could actually get a chance to push it initially, to initiate the first push, metaphorically speaking. So yeah, that's simply something that you need to keep in mind. There are plenty of factors, spiritual factors, that will contribute, plenty of counter-current forces, if you will, that will combat your intent if you express your intent before actually realizing it. And that will make your goal all the harder. In the example that I gave of you buying a car, for example, you'll notice what's going to happen. More often than not, if you were to compare yourself, if you were capable of comparing yourself, let's just say, so to speak, you were to be, hypothetically speaking, you were to be able to go back in time. Okay, if you were to keep quiet about it, you weren't going to say anything, you'd be able to buy that car, generally speaking, without any issues, in general. Whereas if you actually told people well in advance, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to blah, 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 what's going to happen is that you'll notice that all of a sudden small things will start to go wrong. You'll lose your job, you'll be demoted, and that will severely impact your financial capabilities of buying said car. So it will take longer, things will drag out more. Then it will turn out that the car that you had your sights set on, the place where you wanted to buy that car at, the car dealership, you name it, whatever, the car manufacturer, actually already sold it to someone else, or someone else already reserved it, or they simply took the car apart because no one wants to buy it and they are going to discontinue manufacturing that car. It just goes on. You'll see that either subtle things or even major things will start to happen on the road to buying your car, to the point where you're going to say to yourself, okay, listen, this is too much of a hassle, it's not worth it, so what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to let things go. I'm just going to leave things be. That is exactly what I'm getting at. That's what you can expect realistically. I've seen this in my own personal life as well, Okay, when I let's see, I'm trying to think of a couple of good examples, but believe me, I've gone over this numerous times in my life. When I told people I was going to do something, nothing came of it. I left one employer and I discussed with colleagues that I was going to go to a different employer, and things didn't work out. For whatever reason, you name it. As I remember it, the salary was too low. They lied to me. Basically, it was misdirection. For example, I was going to leave company A for company B, but I made the mistake of mouthing off the colleagues of mine and management to the point where people knew that I was going to leave. And in the end, nothing came of it, because when push came to shove, when I spoke to company B that I was supposed to transfer to, okay, where I was supposed to start working, I heard that my salary was, I think, at least 50% less than was initially discussed. And I was like, what in God's name? What the hell is that? That's not what we agreed to at all. But of course, this was a verbal agreement, not an agreement on paper. So yeah, I had no leg to stand on. And I was simply forced to honestly swallow my own vomit, so to speak. And I retracted my resignation at company A. Of course, no one really humiliated me. Nothing. I wasn't put on the spot or humiliated or mocked in any way. But I was disappointed. Honestly, briefly disappointed. I said to myself, "Wow, what a crock of what a heap of nonsense." And yeah, that's an example that I can give. For the rest, numerous other examples, as opposed to the element of surprise. Okay, the element of surprise. And I love it when you actually surprise people. My actions speak for itself. When I, for example, moved to the house that I currently live in, no one saw it coming. I didn't tell anyone. I was completely quiet about it. Nothing. I just called a moving van, a couple of movers. I loaded stuff up. Nothing. Not the person whose house I lived in, so not the landlord of the previous house that I lived in, knew anything about it. No one. I didn't tell anyone. I just moved everything so fast, and boom, before you know it, I was in the house that I'm currently in. And when I finalized things, no one wanted to believe it. Everyone was like, the landlord was completely flabbergasted, and his daughter, which manages things for him, he just couldn't believe it. He was like, why didn't you, if you were unhappy about the price or something, why didn't you discuss matters with us or something like that? I was like, no, I don't feel like discussing anything. I already made up my mind. I don't want to live in that house anymore. It's not worth the money, and so on. And he was like, okay, so when are you going to move then? I mean, all of your stuff, what are you going to do? And his daughter had to tell him, Dad, he already moved. He's already gone out of the house. The house is completely empty. That's what he's saying. He was completely taken aback, and I simply love it. I was like, I love the element of surprise. See, that's all. It goes down to the basic of things. Wild animals in the jungle. What happens when lions try to chase a zebra or something? If they don't have the element of surprise, what are the chances of actually catching a zebra? Nothing. Whereas if lions crouch down and they're completely quiet and they keep itching closer, boom, before you know it, it's over. Dinner on the table for the lion. That's my point. It just goes on. I mean, no one saw it coming. Okay, people that I communicated with, people that followed me in relation to work, occultism and whatnot. Oakley, an acquaintance of mine, Oakley told me, he messaged me the second he saw the video, and usually this acquaintance is we don't communicate with each other anymore, but he is very passive by default. He's very passive, and usually I'm the one that initiates a conversation with him. But on that day, when I published my video that I moved to this new location and I showed people what the house looks like, what the area looks like, he sent me a message right away after he watched the video, and he was like, I don't think anyone saw that coming. No one saw this coming at all, that you moved. No one expected this. And that's what I enjoyed so much. See, the element of surprise. If you don't tell people, usually things go off without a hitch. Even if there are troubles, minor troubles, those are just that, your troubles. No issues whatsoever. Okay? And no one saw it coming, and that makes it all the more gratifying. When I went on vacation to Guyana, I didn't tell anyone. I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to say anything. Cab driver, take me to the airport. Boom. No one. Okay, this was a completely alienated cab driver. Someone that I didn't know, really. Someone that I only knew superficially. But not someone that knows me and my personal life. No. Someone that okay, bring me to the thingy. Okay, we're gonna go tomorrow. I need to go to the airport. Boom. I went, and it was good to go. I left. And when I was actually there, I simply took a picture of the local parliamentary building with the flag waving in the background, but quite in a distance. And I simply teased someone, and I told them through WhatsApp, "Oh, guess where I am?" When I took the picture, I simply took, without me in it. It was just a parliamentary building, book, and I sent him that picture, and I was like, "Guess where I am?" And the person told me in hindsight when I was back. The person told me, I honestly didn't believe it. I looked at the picture and I was like, I had to zoom in for the flag. I was like, what kind of flag is that? Wait a minute, that's a Guyanese flag. He's in Guyana. Moreno's in Guyana. He's in Guyana. Okay. That's what I'm talking about, the element of surprise. But when you make the mistake of sharing people, imagine what would have happened if I told people I was going to move to this new house or anything. Several things would have gone wrong, almost guaranteed. I would have lost the house to someone else. I would have, the owner would have been unwilling to rent the house out to me. It just goes on. So many things could have gone wrong. So many things, imaginable things could have gone wrong. That's what's going to happen. That's why, as the article linked in the description states it, actions speak louder than words, okay? Silence is golden. I'm not saying that you have to worry about sharing stuff with people all the time. No. It's okay if you want to talk about mundane stuff and things like that, but major life decisions and life goals, be as vague about it as possible if people grill you for answers. Okay, only share it with people in the utmost of cases when you literally have no other option or you feel like you have no other option. But for the rest, keep stuff like this to yourself. Let results speak for themselves. Last example that I'm going to give, crystal clear example. You're an assassin. You've received a job, a hit is placed on someone, you're the hitman or hit woman, whatever. Bottom line is you're the assassin, right? You need to kill someone. Okay, I'm like, okay, you need to kill this person. You study that person and everything, but you mouth off to all of your friends, you mouth off to people, and through some kind of happenstance, the word reaches your target. Can you imagine the difficulties? Your target knows now that there's a hit out on him that, hey, someone is coming to kill me. So yeah, your target is going to behave erratically completely out of his rhythm. And now that will make your job as an assassin all the harder because now you need to start all over again. You need to track down your target. You need to do this, you need to do that. Whereas if you had simply shut up and kept your mouth shut, there wouldn't be any problems, there wouldn't be any issues. You had the element of surprise on your side. Your target, you've observed your target, he goes through the motions or she goes through the motions. Your target goes through daily life, work, home, going here, going there. Your target simply leads his or her daily life, and you know exactly at what time they're going to come home, at what time they're going to do this, what their appointments are, what they're going to do, you name it. You have the element of surprise by your side. When you actually slit your target's throat, your target will never see it coming. It's going to be wham bam, thank you man. That's it. It's over in a second. End of story. Everything went off without a hitch. But complications are going to arise when you tell people about your goals. Even if it's not your thingy directly, if it's not your fault directly, the mere fact that your intent has been made clear to factors and parties involved that are aware of your objective will in most cases 9 out of 10 times cause complexities or complications to arise or occur. The assassin example is the finest example that I can give. Okay, if your target actually hears, oh my god, there's a hit out on me, someone's trying to kill me. Yeah, what do you think it's going to do? Your target is going to behave completely erratically. Your target is going to go off the grid. Your target is going to give up everything that he or she can be tracked with. Cell phone, everything. Your target will leave his or her job abruptly. Everything. You lost the entire initiative. You lost the lead. You lost everything. And that will make your job all the harder. So yeah, I hope that the message is clear, okay? Keep stuff to yourself. Silence is golden, okay? Let your actions speak for themselves, not your words. Bye.